In today's video, I will show you my favorite Finviz screener for day trading options. I will show you exactly how to set up the screener, explain to you why you should use this screener yourself, and last but not least, how I use this screener to make my watch list. This way, you yourself will be able to create your own watch list every single day for day trading options. So with that said, smash the like button and let's get started. The first thing you need to do is you need to go to finviz.com. Pretty straightforward. Go to any browser that you use, go to finviz.com, and after that, you're going to click on screener right here at the top. Once you have this, you'll see that there's a lot of criterias that you need to set up for the screeners that you are screening for the stocks that you are screening for. And in this particular case, I am screening for stocks that are volatile and that I can trade options for. So the first thing I need to do is I need to be in the descriptive part of the screener. This way, you can see the total stocks is 9,475 stocks. So obviously, we cannot go through all of these stocks. There's too many of them. So we need to dial this down and get the best stocks possible for what we want to trade. So the first thing is you go over here on the right and you'll see that there's a setting called options and short. What you want to do is you want to click on the drop down and you want to click on optionable, meaning that we want to see stocks that are optionable, that have options trading in them that we can go ahead and play calls or puts on. So this is very important because this eliminates a lot of the stocks that does not have options in them. And this is the first setting. The next thing is if you go over to the current volume, you'll see that there's a set of volume that you can set forth for your stock. Now, you don't want to trade just any random stocks, right? You want to trade stocks that are popular enough, that have decent volume, meaning the more volume it has, the higher likely that the stock will have better moves, because more volume equals more volatility. Also, more volume means that it's a fairly popular stock. Therefore, the options will be fairly, a lot of people will be buying those options strike prices. So you don't want to just trade any random stock. A stock that I consider to be good stock, has good volume, is anything over 1 million. But you can also change it to 2 million or 3 million. Those stocks will also be really good. So over 1 million is typically good because that means that the stock has a good amount of volume and it's a good criteria to put forth. Anything under on 1 million volume or 1 million current volume is not really worth our time. You probably will not be able to get in and out of that stock as often. So not really something that we want to look for. After this, the next criteria that you want to put forth is the price. And when it comes to the price, I want to trade stocks that are above $20, not under, above 20. And why over 20 is because these will be your mid to large cap stocks. Anything over mid to large caps is good because you're looking for options. These are the type of stocks that will have more than $1 to $2, $3, $4 moves. Again, we'll fix that in the next setting that I'm going to show you. But basically, these are the stocks that you want to trade. You don't want to trade anything under $20, especially you don't want to trade anything under $10 because the stock is usually very volatile but can easily be manipulated and pumped. Not saying that any other stocks, large cap stocks and so on are not manipulated. It's just it's a lot easier for a random Discord group to pump a $3 stock up 2-3 points and then dump it later on you and you get caught in that play. So you don't want to really trade those stocks. You want to trade something that's over $20, and I personally like this criteria because it helps with limiting the amount of stocks that we need. Now, if you look at the number of stocks we have in total, 936, still a lot of stocks to go through for, within an hour or so. So we want to dial this down even further. So the next criteria that we're going to be using, we're going to be going over to technical right here. Now, once you get to the technical, this is the most important part of this screener. And this is average true range. Now, the average true range, what does this mean? To understand what an average true range is, basically, it tells you the given movement of a particular stock on on an average period of time. In this case, the setting is using 14 days as its average period of time. So we're looking for stocks that have a good amount of volatility and range on that given period. An average of, usually what I like to set forth is over 2, meaning that any stock that meets this criteria of over 2 has an average range of 2 points, meaning that if the stock is $100, it can go up 2 points or go down 2 points, either to 102 or 98. And that's decent. If you want to be a little bit more greedy with this type of stocks, since the current market, we do have a lot of stocks that are volatile, we can even go for over 3. That will also be fine. And this will give you a lot of stocks that have an average range of 3 or higher. Over 3 means 3 or higher. So basically what we're looking for these stocks that can move up and down 3 points or more. Anything under 3 points, 2 points is okay. 1 point is also okay, but anything under these prices, you're not going to get a lot of volatility to get in and out of an options trade. So what you really, really want is a lot of range, a lot of volatility for that stock, because options premiums move up and down based on volatility. So over 3 is good, over 2 is good. If you want to be even crazier, you can go over 5, but 3 and 2 is pretty good. I just stay with 3 here, and we have a total of 129 stocks, which for me, perfect. I like this amount of stocks because 129 I can get through within an hour and find stocks from these 129 stocks that I think are really good and put them on my watch list. So average true range gives us the average movement of a stock. Very important criteria that you need to set forth. So what do we have? We have about 4 criteria. Average true range on the technical side, and on the descriptive side, we have current volume over 1 million, we have optionable, and we have price greater than 20. You don't really need more than these 4 criteria, but you can even make it even more specific based on what you like. You can choose to do a stock that has over 2 million volume. That will lower your total down to 71. You can do a lot of other things and just limit based on what your specific criteria is afterwards. But you definitely need to keep these 4, as these are the main 4 descriptions and technicals that you need for finding the best possible option stocks to day trade. And of course, there's other stuff here as well, RSI, gap fill, and so on. So you experiment with that on your own, but these are the ones that I like. Now, let's go over a couple of these stocks and see what I would put into my watch list, because that's kind of the point, right? Knowing the setting is all good and all, but what do I typically look for when I am looking for a stock to day trade options? So the first thing I look for is something called a fair value gap, which usually happens when there's a big move in a stock and we need balancing to happen. If the stock goes down big, then it will likely balance that big drop with a nice move to the upside. And vice versa, if the stock goes up really big, it will usually balance that stock out by going back down and filling that big move to the upside. So what we're looking for is we're going to look for some of these fair value gaps. Now, if you look at Airbnb, fairly popular stock, that's also very important. We want to trade stocks that are popular, not something that not a lot of people know about. Airbnb, popular stock, but I don't see any setup that I like here, so I don't really care about that. ADI, I don't often trade this stock. It's not like it's not popular, but it's not something that a lot of people know about either. It has a good setup, but I don't really want to trade. Affirm, very popular stock, but not something that I'm interested in trading as of yet. I don't see anything that has, or I don't see the chart in the daily here looking that good. And we keep going down to find stocks like this. Now, if you look at AMD, very popular stock, and there's a nice little setup here. So let's take a look at this setup. And let's talk about AMD a little bit so you understand exactly what a fair value gap setup means. A fair value gap means that when a stock has dropped big, you want to fill that gap. And if you look at it, we have a big candle and a big drop. We went from 147 of the low here on this candle, followed by the high of this red candle afterward, is the fair value range. This fills this entire move on this day. So on this day, the January of 2nd of 2024, we went down on the market, we gapped down, and then AMD sold off big. So what that means is we have this entire move to balance out. There's a gap on the upside that needs to be filled. Now, on Friday, we went up and we did fill some of that gap. So in order to modify this a little bit, we will just go ahead and use the low of this with the high of the gap that we filled a little bit of. Now, this is the rest of the gap that we need to fill. So that is basically from 141 all the way up to 147. So that's a 6-point gap that we need to fill for AMD on the upside. So that means that anytime it gets above 141, I will go for a call option for maybe a 142 or a 143 call option. And then I'll play this gap all the way up to 147, or even just a little bit of that gap towards maybe 145, and take the profit from that move. Really nice, simple gap fill. Definitely something that I'll be watching for my watch list this week. And of course, if you want to short it, you can always short it under 134 and get a nice short down. There's a gap to fill here as well. If you look at it, we got a nice little fair value gap right here that we can go ahead and maybe get to and fill. So a lot of range, a lot of potential for AMD. Let's get back to the screener and let's take a look at any other stock. Like for instance, ANSS, I never traded this stock and I don't know what the stock does. So I will not be looking at it, even though it has a gap to fill on the downside as well as upside. I don't really want to trade that stock. I want to look for a stock that is popular, that has a really decent setup, and I would like to play that. So like Boeing, for instance, is a very popular stock. People know what Boeing is. They have traded this stock. The stock has good volume often. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at Boeing, and I'm going to do my research here. So if I look at Boeing here, I already did my research on it, but just to redraw everything, Boeing topped off around this 260 zone, 260 to 267, and then started breaking down with the market. And now we have a nice fair value gap. So we take the previous candle from the big candle right here, take that low, and then take the high of the following candle, which is this red candle. And this is your fair value gap. Notice how we bounced here and tested that level of 250. So above 250 is your gap fill all the way up to 259, 260 area. So that's a 9 to 10 point gap that Boeing can go up and fill on the break of 250. So I could go for a 255 call on the break of 250 and play this move to the upside. On the downside, we have support around this 243. So if 243 breaks, we have a nice little fair value gap right here from 243 down to 238.50. That is another fair value gap that we could potentially go down and fill on the downside as well. So good move to the upside, good move to the downside. Definitely a stock I'll be adding to my watch list, and so on and so forth. So these are the type of stocks that you look for, and you can go through each and every stock that it meets these criterias and put them on your watch list so that you can basically create a beautiful watch list for options trading. Coinbase is another one that has a nice fair value gap on the upside. CRM is another one that has a nice fair value gap on the upside and a big gap on the downside, and so on and so forth. So again, a lot of stocks here that have good chart setups. I'll be going over them, making my watch list today. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to be part of the Discord, I have a Discord group. Link will be in the descriptions below, where I go every day and try to do as much of a live session that I can every morning, and put in all of my alerts and everything. We're currently doing a challenge, so I have this challenge account alert room. We have the member chat room. All you have to do is go to the sign up area, click on the link here, log into your Discord that you used to get into the server, and then subscribe, and yeah, that's it. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the Discord. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and peace.